With President Trump on a 4-day visit this week through Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates, his family's expanding business interests in the Middle East are facing fresh scrutiny. The Trump Organization has plans for luxury skyscrapers, golf courses, and a deal involving cryptocurrency in the region. CNN senior investigative correspondent Kyung La has more.
A close look at the Trump Organization portfolio finds the Trump family's business ties to the Middle East have more than tripled since his first term in office, according to a CNN tally. Even after Trump retook office, the Trump brand has been out promoting flashy new construction projects in countries President Trump is visiting this week.
On behalf of my family, we love Dubai. We love the Gulf.
In Dubai, a new Trump International Hotel and Tower. In Saudi Arabia, a new Trump Tower in Jeddah, and 2 projects in Riyadh.
We are going to redefine luxury anywhere in the world.
His sons sealing deals for projects around the Middle East.
A project unlike any other.
In Oman, Don Jr. and Eric Trump met with the Crown Prince last summer about a Trump-branded resort being developed with the nation's tourism arm.
Trump International Hotel, Oman.
In Qatar, a Trump-branded golf club announced just last month involves a firm that's headed by a Qatari official and backed by Qatar's sovereign wealth fund. A Trump Organization spokesperson says the company does not conduct business with any government entity, adding the Trump branding agreement on the Qatar project is with a builder, a separate company. Eric Trump is currently in charge of Trump Org decisions and has promised to keep them separate from his father. But the president still owns the company. So he stands to make money on any successful deal, whether he's involved or not. The Trump Organization has said Trump would put his assets in a trust managed by his children.
We'll make sure that there's no conflicts, and we'll have those signed off by the best legal teams in the world.
During his first term, Trump's company pledged to make no new deals overseas. But not this time around. And it's not just Trump's real estate deals. An Abu Dhabi-backed fund is using a cryptocurrency from the Trump family crypto firm World Liberty Financial for a $2 billion investment. Critics say the result? The public can't separate Trump the president from Trump the businessman.
Is he making the decision from the basis of what's in the United States' interest, what's in the American people's interest, or is he looking to benefit his business partners, his own business, his own bottom line?
The White House rejects those questions.
It's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit.
Trump says his business relationships aren't just for the billionaires, but for Americans.
It's an honor to have such a great investor investing in our country.
One publicized early win came from this Emirati billionaire, Hussein Sajwani. He built a Trump-branded golf course and villas in Dubai years ago and spent New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago. He's promising to invest $20 billion in U.S. data centers. I sat down with Sajwani earlier this year. The election of Mr. Trump impacted the decision to invest.
Yes, impacted from point of view that we think it's going to be more pro-business. And if that happens, of course, we will invest.
How important is the Trump name to your business, to your brand?
It's very important. Those villas we have done, we made money out of them, and customers are happy, and we are happy, and he's happy.
And Kyung La joins me now. Can you remind people the claims that President Trump made heading into this trip?
Well, he's summing it into one word, Anderson: jobs. Now, President Trump says that he will bring in more investment into the United States by traveling into the Middle East as Donald Trump, because he is so well known because of those relationships. He is estimating that just based on the meetings that he is having this week, that he will be able to create 2 million jobs, without getting specific as to how he's coming up with that number, Anderson.
All right, Kyung La, thanks very much.
Tonight, a who's who of American business leaders at lunch with the Saudis and President Trump, waiting in a long, long line, up to an hour, Jeff Zeleny said, just to shake the hand of Trump and the Crown Prince. Among those on the guest list were the heads of Amazon, NVIDIA, OpenAI, Palantir, Uber, Coca-Cola, Google, and Boeing. And of course, Elon Musk was there, front and center. Einstein and Ives are here tonight. So, Dan, NVIDIA, largest chip maker in the world, had been the story of NVIDIA going up and up and up, and, one of the biggest stories of the year, crushed by Trump's trade war. But did announce today, of course, they're in Saudi Arabia, so they got a deal to sell chips to Saudi Arabia. Maybe not the biggest market for that, but so what? They got the deal. You think this is no coincidence coming on the heels of what starts this week off, which is suddenly the big drop of Trump's tariffs on China?
So think about the timeline, right? The weekend, obviously, like the dream scenario in terms of for the market, you have some sort of de-escalation, the China trade deal. He goes to Saudi Arabia in terms of Trump, Jensen, Palantir, everyone's there. But then think about now the next gen chips. Who's getting it? It's not China, it's Saudi Arabia. And that, to me, I view that as just a further shot across the bow. And I think that's something right now that China is taking very note of, because as we've said, there's only one chip in the world that fuels the AI revolution, and it's Jensen and NVIDIA.
Right now it's NVIDIA. Peter, so how much do we know every time you have a president go on a trip like this, you get a whole bunch of deals. And, Boeing was there, but it used to be like a whole bunch of Boeing planes. Now we're getting a Qatari Air Force One, so that's different. But, the kind of a bunch of guys lining up and doing deals that may or may not actually mean anything, but get a lot of pomp and circumstance is not new.
Right.
But in this case, they're lining up for an hour to shake hands. What's the significance of it?
You know what? Look, I'm thinking of the visuals of the whole experience. We were talking. We've been dogging the new sheriff in town for a while, waiting that the deal we needed to get done was the big kahuna, was China.
Yep.
And we actually, the three of us, did not. We were not painting a picture that deal was going to get done. We thought we would get a Vietnam or one of the smaller deals in advance, and we finally. And if you remember, we held hands and we had our kumbaya moment that he was going to sweep on in on a golden goose and go, "I made the deal." There was some backdoor diplomacy. And that's what he ended up doing. And then off of the heels of that, and the market responded incredibly after a weekend of all that talk. The deal is done. We don't know the particulars of it. Monday, market up 1,000 points. A spectacular show, right?
Yep.
Showing that that's what the market wanted.
Right.
And then to then show up in Saudi Arabia and do that, it was as if, you've got to think that, the
theatrics.
The visuals of it were spectacular, and it sounded like it was all premeditated in the way it was done for him to look good, make good deals, and he's in a good spot.
I think it's important. I think they're lining up. You want to be on the good side, not the bad side. And I think that's why you have Jensen there and everyone else.
Well, it is personal in this case, right? And I think maybe that is what's a little bit odd about it, right? It's not so much the U.S. government, it's Trump. How does Trump perceive you, right? This is personal. This is one man. As opposed to the office. But we talk about the trade deal. Okay, we don't know what's in the China trade deal. We know Trump slashed the tariffs from 145 to 30%. So maybe there's not much there, but the market got the tariffs to come down. That's what they wanted. But the prices, I'm curious. So we saw Yeti. You got some Yeti stuff, coolers or like cups or anything.
All right. Definitely. We need the hourglass.
We need the hourglass.
Not to get in the way of the whiteboard.
Okay, let's do the whiteboard because I want to give that its own special moment. Okay, Yeti prices, coolers went up in April. So if you're buying a Yeti cooler, coolers went up by 7%. I'm sorry, 7%. Water bottles and those tumblers, if you're buying, were 11% higher, and we are and dog bowls. Dog bowls, okay. I have a Yeti dog bowl. I'm not buying another one right now. You know why? You know why? Because I'm not going to pay 22% more for a dog bowl for no reason, and that is what. It is 22%. 22% increase for Yeti dog bowls. Okay, here's what I'm saying. It's very hard once this happens for it to go back down.
Right.
So where are we when it comes to inflation and stuff that's now baked in, regardless of what does or doesn't happen with China?
Well, I would just say, and then Peter, is like when you look at the CPI and everything else, that's pre-tariffs in terms of some of that inflationary number. Now it comes down to the next 4, 6, 8 weeks. You obviously talked to Port LA and others. Inventory that obviously is that price increases come through. And like you said, and Peter and I have talked about, once you start to increase prices, they don't decrease, right? And I think that's the issue right now for Trump administration as well as for Powell and the Fed.
Right.
Well, look, as significant as is that we got a deal with China, we still, yet again, don't know any specifics.
Right.
And so that kind of keeps it we're still in the corridor. Right, and as much as the market was really happy with the fact that we did do that, not a good deal is which is better, a bad deal or no deal at all?
I think at that moment.
And now let's bring in.
So I think that was the setup for the deal and the hourglass. I mean, time's ticking, in terms of not just
was this a tariff-free hourglass? I think this was a fancy thing.
Exactly. Look, this might be double now in terms of the hourglass, but now it comes down to India. Vietnam, and ultimately what China, and like we're just going to continue to focus on the
And the tariffs on
hourglass.
China are still higher than any time in history.
Yeah.
I mean, 30% before Liberation Day would have been horrific.
Correct. But you know what? Look, I think we talk about it. We talked about the fact that the market has rebounded almost all of what we lost since the Liberation Day. Yet some of the stocks had really been broken down. I mean, even though the indices are maybe back up to where they were, there are a lot of stocks that have suffered a lot. But if you look at it from the trough to the tip, you know, from April 7th until May 2nd, we actually went from a bear market to bull market territory. So it's amazing how we talked about it. Was it climbing a wall of worry?
Yeah.
You know, why is the market doing that? Because they had some sense we were going to make a deal. And now the bottom line is, how long will it be until we know the specifics of that?
Well,
the longer we...
that's going to be the key.
And well, yeah, so just keep counting.
It's all about the hourglass.
Goes.